Chapter 19. The rocking chair was a wedding present from my parents. It has a high back and smooth curved arm, exactly the right height for sleepy nighttime feeds. It arrived with a red ribbon, two soft cushions, and a note that said, "For the nursery." I spent hours in this chair. You never got up. Men didn't in those days, and I was afraid to turn on the light in case it kept Anna awake. So I rocked back and forth in the dark, willing her to sleep. When Anna moved out of the nursery, I brought the rocking chair downstairs, where it divided its time between the kitchen and the sitting room. But now it is back here in Anna's nursery, in our granddaughter's nursery. The room is large, extravagant for a baby, especially one currently sleeping in her parents' bedroom. Judging by the Moses basket on Anna's side of the bed, above the white cot is a string of pink and white bunting, with the name Ella picked out in pale green. Adjacent to the cot is a chest of drawers, and on the opposite wall a matching wardrobe and a changing table with gingham lined basket filled with nappies and talcum powder. I mean, only to peek inside. I think it's unlikely I'll find the key here, but my feet find their way across the soft grey carpet to the rocking chair, my rocking chair. Back and forth, the light low, the view across the rooftops the same as it's been for 26 years. Anna in my arms. They called it the baby blues then. It felt more than that. I was overwhelmed, frightened. I wanted to call Alicia, the only one of my friends who might have understood, but I couldn't bring myself to pick up the phone. I had everything she didn't. A husband, a big house, money. What right did I have to cry? I've stayed here too long. I need to get on. I need to get out. Downstairs, I checked the kitchen, automatically straightening the tea towels hanging on the agar. There's a pile of magazines on the table and a scattering of posts dumped in the empty fruit bowl on the island. I don't find the key I'm looking for. There's a scuffle of balls from the utility room. Rita. My breath catches in my throat, and although I don't make a sound, I hear her whine. She can sense I'm here. I pause, my fingers resting lightly on the door handle. Surely being seen by a dog isn't the same as being seen by humans. Rita whines again. She knows I'm here. Walking away would be cruel. A quick hello and then I'll leave. Where's the harm in that? She can't tell anyone she's seen a ghost. The door is barely open an inch when it's forced open by a barrel of fur moving so fast it tumbles over itself and twice rolls along the tile floor before standing again. Rita! She jumps backwards, her hackles up and her tails wagging as though she doesn't know how she should be feeling. She barks once, twice, jumps forward and then back. I remember her growling at shadows in the hedgerows on our evening walks, and wonder what she saw then that I dismissed as nothing. I drop to my knees and hold out a hand. She knows my smell, but my appearance is confusing her. Good girl, Rita. The sob in my voice catches me unawares. Rita's ears prick up in recognition, and the ridge of bristles fur along her spine subsides. Her tail is a blur, taking her back and with it. Another whine. Yes, it's me, Rita. There's a good girl. Come on. She needs no further invitation. Satisfied that, contrary to first impressions, her mistress is indeed in her kitchen, she throws herself at me, looking furiously at my face and leaning so heavily against me I have to put out a hand to steady myself. I sit with her, my request forgotten, as I bury my face in her fur. I feel the advent of tears, and I swallow hard and refuse to let them fall. When Rita arrives from Cyprus, she'll be in a rescue centre for 8 months. She was affectionate and gentle, but has such acute separation anxiety that even leaving the room was an ordeal. The first time we went out, she howled so loudly we could still hear her at the end of the street, and I had to turn back and leave you to go on alone. Gradually, Rita realized she was here for keeps, that if we went out, she would be back with treats for being such a brave girl. She still greeted us on our return with excitement and relief, but the howling ceased, and she settled into a calm and happy dog. Guilt seeps through me as I imagine how she must have felt the day I just didn't come home. Did she wait by the front door, run the length of the hall and back, whining to see me? Did Anna stroke her, reassure her I'll be back soon, all the while wondering herself what had happened, worrying as much as Rita? More. Rita suddenly sits up, nose in the air, and ears alert. I freeze. She heard something. Sure enough, a second later, I hear it too. The crunch of gravel, voices, a key in the lock. Chapter 20. Anna. Mark insists on coming with us into the house instead of dropping us at the curb. So, you're worried? I say as he carries Ella's car seat indoors. Now that you know it wasn't a fox that left the rabbit, there's a chill in the hall and I turn up the thermostat until I hear the heating kick in. He actually said they couldn't be certain either way. Without photos, you mean? Without forensics. He gives me a look and I bite back a further retort. Bickering won't help, but yes, I'm worried, he says, and his tone is serious. I feel childishly vindicated, but Mark isn't done. I'm worried about you. He shuts the front door. What you said at the police station about feeling your mother's presence. He doesn't finish and I don't help him out. It's a perfectly normal part of the grieving process, but it could be a sign you're not coping. And then there's Ella and all the hormones involved in becoming a mother. I wait for several beats. You think I'm going mad? No, I don't think that. What if I like feeling as though Mum's still here? Mark nods thoughtfully and rubs a forefinger across his lips, his thumbs beneath his chin, his listening face. It makes me feel like a patient, not a partner, a case study, not the mother of his child. What if I want to see ghosts? Sorry, if I want to have post-bereavement hallucinatory experiences. The correction is sarcastic, and I see hurt in Mark's eyes, but I'm past the point where I can calm myself down. I'll see you later. He doesn't kiss me goodbye, and I don't blame him. He shuts the door, and I hear the jangle of keys as he double locks it behind him. I wonder fleetingly if he thinks he's keeping the danger out or shutting it in. Your mother is an idiot, Ella, I tell her. She blinks at me. Why did I have to be so unpleasant? Mark's worried, that's all, personally and professionally. Wasn't it precisely his compassion that attracted me to him? Now I'm seeing that same trait as a flaw. I shiver, bend down to feel the radiator. It's all warming up, but it's still so cold in here. I laugh out loud. All the ghostly cliches are coming out now, but it's unconvincing, even to me, because it isn't just a temperature that makes me feel as though someone else is in the room. It's my mother's perfume. Addict by Dior, vanilla and jasmine. So faint I think I'm imagining it. I am imagining it because as I stand at the foot of the stairs, my eyes closed, I realize I can't smell it at all. Come on, you, I unbuckled Ella from the car seat. Talking aloud to her quells the churning feeling in my stomach, as though 1,000 butterflies were caught in a net. Despite the agar, the kitchen is icy too. There's a smell of fresh, cold air, a drift of jasmine I make myself ignore. Rita whines from the utility room. I open the door and go to fuss her, but she ignores me and runs into the kitchen, where she traces her nose in circles around the floor. Around and around she runs, and it makes me smile in spite of myself. Silly dog, I said to Ella. Isn't she a silly dog? I found a piece of marrowbone and reluctantly Rita leaves her imaginary rabbit chase and takes it to her bed by the agar, where she gnaws contentedly. Post-bereavement hallucinatory experiences. Such a clinical way to describe something so magical, so inexplicable. Some people claim to have had entire conversations with their loved ones, Mark said at the police station. It's often part of our disordered grieving process known as pathological grief, but occasionally it can be symptoms of something more serious. Symptoms, process, conditions. Names for things we don't understand because we're frightened of what they might mean, what they might do to us. Entire conversations. I'd give anything to hear my parents' voices again. I have a few videos, birthday speeches, summer holiday antics I filmed from my graduation, snippets recorded throughout the day, then stitched together. My parents are the wrong side of the camera. They kept it proud, trained on me, but the microphone picked up every whisper word as I sat in the front row seats in the Butterworth Hall at Warwick's Art Centre. Our little girl. I can't believe it. Look at that one in the jeans. You think he'd have put a proper pair of trousers on. You can talk. You look like you've been gardening in those. How stupid of me. I thought today was about Anna. If I'd known it was a fashion parade for parents. They took me for lunch at Taylor's, where Dad became producer and louder with each course, and Mum wiped tears away as she shared my mediocre degree result with another stranger. By dessert, I was desperate to leave, but I couldn't steal this moment from them. I was the only child, the first Johnson to go to university. They deserve a celebration. I played the film so often I know every word by heart, but it isn't the same. It could never be the same. I closed my eyes, tipped my head on impulse. I held out my arms, palms uppermost, thinking how if anyone looked in the window right now, I would never live this down. But if I can feel Mum, if I can smell her perfume, Mum, Dad, my voice sounds small and tiny in the empty kitchen. If you can hear me, there's a whistle wind from outside, a rustle from the trees in the garden. Rita whines, a faint, high-pitched cry that fades into nothing. When I was 11, Laura showed me how to make a Ouija board, explained how we could summon the dead with nothing more than some strategically lit candle and a board on which we had carefully marked the letters of the alphabet. She swore me to secrecy, and we waited until the next time Laura babysat to set everything up. Laura turned the lights low. She took a CD from her bag and played a track I didn't recognize by an old-fashioned singer I'd never heard of. Ready? Our 4 fingers on the small piece of wood in the center of the board, we waited and waited. I stifled the giggles. Laura's eyes were closed, her face screwed up in concentration. I was getting bored. I'd expect a fun night in with Laura, scaring each other with ghost stories, the way my friends and I did at sleepovers. I pushed the marker. Laura's eyes snapped open. I mirrored her look of shock. Did you feel that? I nodded furiously. She narrowed her eyes at me. Did you move it? Swear you didn't move it? I swear. Laura closed her eyes again. Is there someone there? Gently I pushed the marker across the board. Yes. And then I wish I hadn't, because Laura's face crumbled like paper, and tears pushed their ways from beneath her eyelids and clung to her lashes. Mum? I wanted to cry too. I couldn't tell Laura I'd been messing around, but I couldn't carry on with the game she wasn't playing. Her fingers trembled, but the marker didn't move. It was an age before she took away her hands. Shall we play something else instead? Are you okay? I was tempted to, but Laura had always blinked away the beginning of tears. She blew out the candles, whisked me into a game of Monopoly. Years later, I confess, we were sharing a bottle of wine, and I had sudden memory of crouching over our homemade Ouija board. Sudden need to clear my conscience. I know, she said, when I'd unburden my soul. You know? Well, I guessed. You were a crap liar when you were 11. She grinned and aimed a punch at my shoulder, then took in my face. Don't tell me it's been eating you up all this time. It hadn't, but I was relieved to discover it hadn't been weighing on her mind either. Now my skin pricks. The hairs on the back of my neck stand on end. One by one, I catch a trace of jasmine in my nostril, and then nothing. I open my eyes and drop my arms to my side because this is absurd, ridiculous. My parents are dead, and I can no longer summon them from my kitchen. Then I can spread wings and fly. There are no messages, no hauntings, no afterlife. Mark's right. It's all in my head.